Okay, so now there's more things to cover about the Master Woodsman. This is the basic introduction of the Master Woodsman. So now let's get to the SK. This is the SK from William Collins. So it's the William Collins survival knife. Mine is serial number 14. Again, 01. So this knife, this is your survival blade. So now you're gonna say, so why do I need a survival blade? So what is a survival blade? Survival blade is grid down situation. Now I need to fend for myself. I need to use it for fighting. I need to use it to process firewood. I need to break into a door and open. I need to break into a car and cut the sheet metal or cut through wood or whatever you gotta do. Whatever needs to be done for your knife needs and your knife use, this is the knife. Tons of videos on it. Again, I'm trying not to go back to things that people talked about, okay? But one thing I haven't seen is the fighting feature of this knife. So the way you hear, oh, it's a fighting knife. Oh, but how could it be a fighting knife if it doesn't have a finger guard? You don't need a finger guard. First of all, the only way you use your knife as fighting like this, it's very rare. When you're fighting with a knife, you use your blade this way. So, and as you can see, you have the points, and this is what you use for control. You don't want to kill somebody, so you use your knife as blocking. And you have the point that helps you when you get on a knife fight. You can block. You block. And then you can attack with the pommel of the blade. You don't have to kill everybody every time. And this is a fighting knife. You can also, the good feature of it is you have the tip center. So you always know when where your tip is. So this is how my interpretation of a fighting knife. And most people think it's this way. You can also use it this way. You have the contours. You can grip the knife good. It's not going anywhere. You can also grip the knife this way. You have contours here. And you have the pommel, like I said, to cause damage without killing anybody. You're not gonna be Rambo on people. This is just to defend yourself on the knife. That's what the basic idea is. So enough about that. So this knife is 3/16 now. We're thicker than the Master Woodsman. So it's gonna split better. It's gonna chop better. You have that sweep, cookery sweep. It's gonna grab on the limb better than the Master Woodsman. One shot. And then, same thing. You also have this part here now. Want to take bark off? I use this. You make your shelter. And then for feather sticks, this is the part you're gonna do feather sticks. So even though this is one bevel for sharpening, you have different apex on the same blade. So here is like more of a chisel. Here is more finer, for finer cutting, for finer chopping, for finer cutting, finer chopping. And then you have the point. So that point, if it goes through material the way this knife is, and why it's designed for survival, and what's good to be a survival knife, and so the way this knife is, it's gonna push the material as it pierces in. It's gonna push the material because of the way the blade is grinded. So it's gonna spread up, and then what's gonna touch on it is this part to cut through, to keep piercing. And then as this touched, so now you're going back to the hole you made is gonna be open from this point. And that's how the blade is gonna pierce the material you wanna pierce. So now, other features of a survival knife, it has to be strong, cannot break, cannot twist, it cannot bend. We've done all that. William has videos on that. Other people have videos on that. Also has on the handle we talked about. He also has the bow drill divot. I don't use bow drill. I don't think I'm ever gonna use bow drill. I can get the technique, okay? I see some people like to practice. It's not something I do. I have lighters, I have ferro rods. If I get to a point that I really need to fire that bad and I gotta use a bow drill, then I'll use it. But it's good to have just in case. So, what else to talk about this blade? One feature I'm really taken about is this part here and the way it swoops back in here. So I have the gap and I could really whittle with this knife. You can really craft, not just cut, like you have control. Again, we talked about control in the other videos. You need control on your big blades and you need to use both hands on your big blade. But the difference with the other knives is you don't have the belly on this. You have a point. This is what you're gonna do your skinning with, you're cutting with, you're slicing with this point and this point. But the front point, which for me is how I use a knife, very important, is what gets used a lot on this knife. And then you have the fine tip, like that tip. William, the way he did this tip, I've never seen anything like that. You have the flat portion, so you have very controlled. And I don't have a belly, so I have a point to make all my cuts with. So that's what I'm gonna take advantage of. And this is 01. This is 3V's, the other blade. This is 01. So I think I covered enough about this blade for now. Like I said, visit William's channel, which I'm sure you all subscribe to William Collins. And you'll see all the features about it and you see some different testing. This was just my little take on it. And next blade is coming up is the Northern Woodsman. And see you guys on the next video.